All right, what's up, my brothers? So in this video, I want to talk about some double standards that exist between misogyny and misandry. I've got a clip here from Piers Morgan's channel, and he's talking to Tate. I'm not going to put the video up, but you'll just need to hear the audio. It's just a short. I want to comment on it because I find something very, very interesting about this concept. It's come up a lot over the years, but just listen to this clip real quick.
You said this, in general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That...
You see where this is going. We'll just finish this up, and then I'll throw my 2 cents in.
Is misogyny. Why? Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds, and having effectively been having...
He's talking about desire. I just want to hover on that for a second. Desirability.
Too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
That would, well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
All right, so it cuts off shortly after that, but essentially where that's going is he's saying that he's a misogynist simply because he's expressed a preference for women that are younger, and he finds that women that are older bring a degree of baggage, uncertainty, complexity to a man's life that younger women simply don't. This is not a new concept. This is something that has been spoken about for years. I've covered in my channel and in my book as well. Generally speaking, as women age and they get older, they end up dealing with more and more baggage. There's a lot of very decisive studies that have been done, properly done in fact, that indicate that the more partners a woman has and the younger she is when she loses her V card, the less suitable she is for long-term relationships, marriage, motherhood, things like that. The chances of a woman that's been with 24 guys versus one guy abandoning, walking away from a marriage, basically calling it quits and wanting to untie the knot are significantly higher if she's been with a bunch of dudes. So now, is that misogyny, I guess, is, what I'm trying to drive at here. And that's going to be open to interpretation. And it seems like today, anyway, that anything that might be used in such a way that would share a unfavorable light on female nature is now called misogyny. Blanket. It's across the board. If you say something that's unfavorable to female nature, you're now labeled as a misogynist. Now, what I find that's interesting, if you Google the opposite of misogyny, you'll come up with misandry. And it's basically the definition of misandry is a hatred of men. But you never hear this word today. You never hear anybody call women misandrists. That's a misandrist statement. Nothing. You won't even hear people say, well, why do you hate men? It's infrequently covered, if we're being honest. Now, here's what's interesting. Women have a long laundry list of requirements and preferences. Let's just use preferences. Women have a long laundry list of preferences for men that they select for long-term basis. We know that women will select guys on a short-term basis based on alpha seed. They're the alpha chat. It doesn't matter if he's been in jail, is broke as hell. If he's got the neck tat and he's handsome as crap, she'll spend a night with him. But their preferences change when it comes to long-term relationships. And anybody that's been on dating apps has probably heard some sound bites along the lines of, make sure you don't live at home, have a good steady job, must be at least 6 feet tall, and the likes. But it doesn't really end there, if we're being honest. Their laundry list of requirements, their standards, if you will, continue beyond that. Must be funny, must be interesting, must be captivating, must be influential, must be alpha, must also be soft and humble and kind and somewhat of a beta when I need him to be, must be funny, must be competent, must be able to kill spiders, must be able to blah, blah, blah. You've heard it all, right? Like, it goes on and on. but nobody ever calls a woman a misandrist when they express preferences. When our friend Mr. Tate expressed preferences for younger women that haven't been through as many guys, he's called a misogynist, and he's canceled. I thought that was an interesting observation, now that I've seen that clip. Piers Morgan's an interesting dude. I've watched him for quite a bit over the years, and from time to time I disagree with him, but I like the way that he conducts himself and does his interviews. But with that being said, he is also a cog in the wheel of the female first primary social order. I've watched him bend the knee many times over and over again to some woke feminist narrative. Which, if we're being honest, is today a supremacy movement. It now wants to encourage society to hate men for any reason whatsoever. I like younger women. That's really all that he's saying. I just prefer, younger women. And he indicates a few straightforward reasons. And of course, the internet blows up over it. Interviews like this get pulled up, and then he's cornered on television and try to essentially be painted in a negative light, which I don't think is reasonable given how women have these unreasonable standards today for dudes. Anyway, you tell me what you think. Leave a comment below, like the video. See you later. Peace.